A man stands in the middle of an empty warehouse. In front of him, a mountain of cash, a dozen cameras, and a question that no business school could ever answer. What happens when you give everything away? That man is Jimmy Donaldson, better known to the world as MrBeast. And somehow, by giving, he built a billion-dollar empire. How? That's the puzzle we're about to solve. While corporations spend billions convincing people to buy, MrBeast did the opposite. He convinced people to watch him give things away, and that single twist flipped the economics of the internet. Every act of generosity became a viral event. Every viral event became revenue. And every dollar earned was thrown straight back into the next spectacle. The cycle looked insane from the outside, like a man burning money for views, but beneath the chaos was a formula so precise it could rival a Wall Street algorithm. Jimmy didn't start rich. In fact, he started in a small room in North Carolina, staring at a cracked monitor and a dream that no one understood. He was obsessed, not with fame, not with money, but with YouTube itself. For years, he studied it like a scientist, how thumbnails affected click-through rate, how retention shaped revenue, how a single second could decide success or failure. He once said, "I woke up, studied YouTube for 10 hours, went to sleep," and repeated that for years. He didn't have connections or investors, just curiosity, spreadsheets, and a cheap mic. That obsession built the foundation for everything that came next. He started with experiments no sane person would attempt. Counting to 100,000, reading every word in the dictionary, watching paint dry. People laughed. Then they watched. Then they shared. Each ridiculous stunt carried one secret ingredient: endurance. It wasn't just entertainment, it was proof of willpower. Viewers didn't just see a kid on camera, they saw commitment in its rawest form. That was the first step toward trust. Attention is cheap, affection is priceless. Jimmy realized that when people felt something, laughter, surprise, gratitude, they stayed longer. So he started using the oldest storytelling force in human history: emotion. He began giving money not to celebrities, but to ordinary people. Uber drivers, homeless shelters, random subscribers. The reaction became the product. In an online world full of fake smiles and rented Lamborghinis, MrBeast's kindness looked alien, almost suspiciously pure. And that purity became magnetic. Every time a video exploded, he didn't buy luxury cars or mansions. He bought scale. If one challenge cost $10,000, the next one cost $100,000. He reinvested until the numbers themselves became characters in the story. It wasn't philanthropy alone, it was strategic generosity. The more he gave, the more the algorithm loved him. YouTube rewarded watch time. People watched longer when the stakes were life-changing. So, paradoxically, the act of giving became the most profitable thing he could do. He had hacked attention itself. The world's first glance came with videos like "Last to leave the circle wins $10,000." Simple premise, immense tension, real people, real stakes. The concept was ancient, survival of the fittest, but filmed in a way that merged reality TV, a game show, and generosity. Brands took notice. Sponsors lined up. But MrBeast still refused to sell merch aggressively or plug endless products. He wasn't building a store. He was building trust capital, something far rarer than cash. People didn't just watch MrBeast. They believed in him. And belief is a currency no algorithm can manufacture. That belief meant that when he finally launched a product, a burger, a chocolate bar, or a charity initiative, millions participated. Not because they were sold to, but because they wanted to be part of his story. He had reversed the rules. Traditional brands chase customers. MrBeast created believers first, customers later. It's the same reason Apple can sell a phone every year: trust before transaction. By 2023, Forbes valued his ventures at nearly $1 billion. Yet, if you asked him, he'd say he still doesn't feel rich, because every profit gets recycled into another idea. His empire isn't made of factories or offices, it's made of attention loops, emotional equity, and digital goodwill. He didn't sell anything, he earned everything. MrBeast showed the world that generosity could be engineered into a system, that in the age of algorithms, empathy can outperform advertising, and that sometimes the fastest way to become a billionaire is to stop thinking like one. But how did he turn this trust into a business machine? At first glance, it all looked effortless, a smiling YouTuber handing out bags of cash. But behind the laughter was a machine so precise that every frame, every dollar, and every reaction had a purpose. MrBeast had turned generosity into an engine, and the fuel wasn't money, it was attention. Jimmy's mantra was simple: if I make 10,000, I'll spend 10,000 on the next video. This wasn't reckless, it was compound interest in content form. Every reinvestment pushed the next upload beyond what the audience expected. When a $10,000 giveaway reached 10 million views, it paid for the next one at $100,000. That one, in turn, earned enough to finance the first $1 million spectacle. The loop never broke, because each act of giving created a bigger story, and each bigger story pulled more eyes into the Beast universe. Traditional businesses reinvest profits into advertising. MrBeast reinvested profits into awe. Emotion doesn't scale easily unless you design it to. Jimmy realized early that audiences craved moments, not money. It wasn't about how much he gave, but how it felt to watch someone's life change in seconds. So he built a team whose only job was to engineer those moments. Writers who crafted challenges, editors who timed music with tears, producers who found ordinary people with extraordinary reactions. The result? Feelings on command. Every upload became a roller coaster: humor, tension, relief, joy, looped perfectly for the YouTube algorithm. Behind the scenes, spreadsheets tracked costs like a startup. Timelines were color-coded. Retention graphs were studied like stock charts. The empire of kindness ran on data. MrBeast was no longer one person with a camera. He was a production studio, a research lab, and a logistics company disguised as a YouTube channel. Hundreds of employees worked across multiple warehouses. Each video was a miniature film. Scripts were written weeks ahead, sponsorship deals negotiated, budgets approved, all for a few minutes of digital magic. But Jimmy's obsession never changed: maximize impact, minimize ego. That humility became his most valuable brand asset. Viewers didn't see a celebrity. They saw a guy still trying to outdo himself. And that authenticity made expansion inevitable. The leap from videos to real businesses happened naturally. Fans trusted his taste. They wanted to consume the brand itself. So he created MrBeast Burger, a virtual restaurant chain operating through delivery apps. No physical stores, no advertising campaign. He simply dropped one video and a tweet. Within hours, thousands of orders crashed the app. The secret? He wasn't selling food, he was selling participation. Buying a burger felt like being part of a movement. Next came Feastables, a chocolate brand that embodied the same philosophy. Simple, transparent, fun. He didn't talk about profit margins or flavors, he talked about purpose. Healthier snacks, cleaner ingredients, and a promise that part of the revenue would feed the hungry. Again, people didn't just buy chocolate, they bought belief. Corporations tried to copy the model. Lavish giveaways, viral challenges, emotional ads, But they missed the key ingredient: trust built over time. You can't manufacture that in a boardroom. MrBeast had spent a decade earning it, video by video, mistake by mistake. When a faceless brand gives you money, you question the motive. When MrBeast does it, you smile before he finishes the sentence. That's why his empire expanded without traditional marketing. Viewers were his advertisers, algorithms his billboards, and authenticity his contract. His charitable arm wasn't a side project. It was the foundation of the system. Beast Philanthropy turned viewership into funding, each click feeding families, building homes, and digging wells across continents. Every good deed generated content, and every piece of content generated more good deeds. It was capitalism bent into a circle of kindness. He once said, "If I wanted to be rich, I'd stop spending. But that's boring." That sentence explains everything. Money, for him, was momentum. To understand why millions never tire of watching him, you have to decode the psychology beneath the surface. Humans are wired for stories of fairness and reward. Seeing someone generous triggers the same pleasure centers as receiving generosity ourselves. Every MrBeast video offers that hit of dopamine, the fantasy of abundance without greed. He turned that instinct into a predictable formula. Present a dream. Create a challenge. Reward the deserving. Repeat until belief becomes a habit. That's not just entertainment, it's behavioral design. With fame came pressure. Copycats, criticism, impossible expectations. How do you top yourself when you've already given away islands? Instead of retreating, Jimmy embraced the tension. Each new video became a conversation with his audience. How far can we go together? The "we" is crucial. Unlike most influencers who separate their fans from their fortune, MrBeast treats them as partners in the experiment. Their views finance his ideas. Their excitement fuels his ambition. The viewers aren't spectators. They're shareholders of his dream. Look closely, and you'll see no headquarters engraved with his name, no giant logo on skyscrapers. MrBeast's empire exists in pixels, hearts, and memory. It's built on shared experiences. The moment someone wins a car, the second a stranger cries from relief. The instant a viewer decides to subscribe because they felt something true. That's what makes it unstoppable. You can copy a product, but you can't copy trust, amplified by millions. He gave away fortune after fortune, yet somehow each act made him wealthier. He sold nothing, but everyone wanted to buy in. And somewhere between generosity and genius, a new kind of capitalism was born. One powered not by greed, but by gratitude. The name MrBeast wasn't just a YouTube search term anymore. It had become a global signal, a digital heartbeat felt from Los Angeles to Lagos, Karachi to Kyoto. Wherever Wi-Fi reached, his influence did too. But with that incredible reach came an invisible weight. How do you keep changing lives when the entire world expects a miracle in every single upload? Back in 2021, his videos started being translated into multiple languages. Spanish, Portuguese, Hindi, Japanese, each new voiceover recreated the exact same thrill, the same raw emotion, and within months, these international channels began racking up millions of subscribers. He didn't open offices abroad. He simply opened doors. There was no big Hollywood marketing plan. It was just trust, crossing borders at the speed of empathy. When one guy in North Carolina could make a family in Brazil cry with joy, it became crystal clear. This wasn't just entertainment anymore. It was a shared language of generosity. But every story of a meteoric rise hides a darker subplot: expectation. The audience's appetite for bigger and better grew faster than any budget could. Give away a car once, and they cheer. Do it a second time, and they expect it. Do it 100 times, and they start demanding something even bigger. Behind each video, the logistics exploded. Permits, safety checks, hundreds of staff members, and layers upon layers of planning. It looked so effortless on screen, but offline, it was a relentless grind that tested every ounce of patience. Jimmy even started facing burnout. He admitted in interviews, "I can't stop. If I stop, everything I've built slows down." This empire of kindness came with a silent tax: the relentless pressure to constantly outdo himself. Most businesses grow by selling more stuff. MrBeast's empire grew by giving more away. But generosity on that massive scale demands incredible discipline. So he built systems to keep the chaos in check. He hired financial officers, project managers, and set strict reinvestment caps. Every single act of charity had a budget, a timeline, and a spreadsheet. It was the only way to keep that pure intention sustainable. Because when millions of people depend on your generosity for inspiration, even one tiny misstep can become global news. And yet, despite all the storms, he never let efficiency replace empathy. He always made sure the heart of it all stayed louder than the hustle. By 2022, the brand had outgrown the very platform that created it. MrBeast Burger expanded to thousands of locations through cloud kitchens. Feastables chocolate bars started appearing in supermarkets all across America. But the thing that made investors just freeze in disbelief was not the incredible scale. It was the marketing budget. It was practically zero. One tweet, one video, one fiercely loyal fan base. That was all it took to sell out entire shelves. Why? Because customers weren't responding to slick advertisements. They were responding to the trust equity he had built over a decade of being completely transparent. Jimmy often says, "It's not my channel, it's our channel." He treats every single subscriber like a silent investor. Each view is a vote, each comment is a suggestion, and every share is like a form of stock in the company. That mindset completely flipped the audience from being passive spectators to active collaborators. When people feel a sense of ownership, they defend the brand like it's their own family. That's why controversies die down so quickly, and the support always comes back even stronger. He's not just creating content, he's nurturing a community economy where loyalty is more valuable than any contract. Of course, with that much influence comes a moral mirror. Could giving away so much money distort the real meaning of giving? Could entertainment philanthropy turn genuine compassion into just another form of content? Jimmy faced those tough questions head-on. Instead of hiding from them, he made the entire process transparent. He showed the receipts, explained his motives, and even invited his critics to come and see the operations for themselves. He wasn't trying to prove that he was perfect. He was trying to prove his intention. And that authenticity is what kept him human and grounded. For centuries, wealth has always meant control, owning land, gold, or factories. But MrBeast redefined it. For him, wealth is impact multiplied by attention. Every time he uploads a new video, millions of people pause their day to witness a moment of hope. Each donation chain he starts inspires thousands of others to give offline. That ripple effect, not the revenue, is his real balance sheet. And ironically, it's the exact same principle that traditional philanthropists spend fortunes trying to replicate. Just make people care enough to act. Jimmy achieved it with a camera and his own conviction. Behind the massive spectacle, he's still the same kid who once counted to 100,000 just for fun. He still edits video drafts late into the night, still obsesses over thumbnails, and still jokes around with his crew like they're old high school friends. Fame didn't sculpt him into some cold, distant CEO. It just gave him a much bigger playground to play on. That humility shields him from the arrogance that ruins so many other moguls. He knows this entire empire is standing on one very fragile foundation: trust. If he loses that, everything collapses. But if he keeps it, he can build absolutely anything. So, what is MrBeast really building here? It's not just a company, and it's not even just a brand. He's building a blueprint, a model for the next generation of entrepreneurs who believe that empathy and economics can actually coexist. He's a living reminder that success measured in dollars dies pretty quickly, but success measured in smiles can live forever. One day, historians might look back and call him the world's first philanthro-creator, a hybrid of a storyteller, an entrepreneur, and a humanitarian. He didn't sell products. He sold purpose. Some people build walls to protect their fortune. He built bridges that gave his away. And in that incredible paradox, he discovered the rarest business secret of all. When you stop chasing money and start chasing meaning, the money starts chasing you. Imagine this. The lights of a tiny studio flicker over piles of messy receipts. A young man, Jimmy Donaldson, just got his first big YouTube paycheck. What does he do? Buy a new car? A fancy camera? Nope. He looks at that money and thinks, "This isn't for me. This is for the next video." And with that one decision, the man who would become MrBeast laid the first brick of his billion-dollar empire. This is the story of how reinvesting every single dollar turned a kid in a bedroom into a global phenomenon. Most people see a paycheck as a reward. For Jimmy, it was just fuel. Every dollar he earned from YouTube didn't belong to him. It belonged to the next video, the next crazy idea. This simple concept, the reinvestment loop, became the engine driving his entire operation. It started small. When he made his first $1,000 from YouTube, he didn't pocket a single cent. He poured it all back into the channel. The next video had a slightly bigger budget. The one after that, even bigger. Soon, he was giving away the very money he had just earned. First, it was $1,000. Then $10,000. Then $100,000. He famously said, "I don't care about making money. I care about making the best videos possible." And ironically, that very mindset is what made him one of the wealthiest creators on the planet. This philosophy, spending money not to show off, but to create something bigger and better, made every video feel like an event. They were larger, riskier, and more unbelievable than the last. People weren't just watching for entertainment. They were watching a story unfold. A story about taking massive risks, having unwavering faith, and believing in a crazy dream. But if you dig deeper, you'll find the real secret behind the MrBeast empire wasn't just generosity. It was trust. Every time he gave away money, whether it was 10 grand to a random stranger or $500,000 to a homeless shelter, he was building an invisible, emotional bond with millions of people. Think about it. We live in a world where brands are constantly trying to sell us something. But here was a creator who was just giving. His audience stopped seeing him as a businessman and started seeing him as a friend, someone who genuinely wanted to help people. That trust became his most powerful currency, more valuable than any ad deal. So, when he eventually launched MrBeast Burger, millions of people ordered. Not because of a slick marketing campaign, but because they felt like they were part of his journey. They wanted to support him. When he introduced his chocolate brand, Feastables, people didn't just buy it for the taste. They bought it because they trusted the man behind the name. MrBeast never had to sell in the traditional sense. He gave away so much value for free that his audience felt almost obligated to support him when he finally did ask. Let's rewind to those grueling early days. It wasn't glamorous. Jimmy and his small team were living like a scrappy startup trapped inside a YouTube channel. They would film for 18 hours straight, crash on the studio couch for a few hours, then wake up and dive right into editing. Upload, repeat. Every single video was a massive gamble. They were literally spending everything they had on one video, just hoping it would perform well enough to fund the next one. If a video flopped, they were broke. Back to square one. But when a video succeeded, they didn't pop champagne or go on vacation. They took every penny of profit and reinvested even more into the next project. This relentless cycle, earn, reinvest, repeat, became the MrBeast formula. To an outsider, it looked completely insane. Why not take some profit? Why risk it all over and over again? But to his fans, it just looked like pure, unadulterated passion. Beneath that passion, however, was a razor-sharp business instinct. He understood that every successful video made the next one bigger. A bigger video pulled in more views, which generated more revenue, which allowed for an even bigger impact. There's a story that perfectly sums up this mindset. After one particularly successful video, a team member suggested they finally take a break and enjoy some of the profits. Jimmy just shook his head and said, "We can't stop now. This is the time to go harder." It wasn't about greed. It was about momentum. He understood a principle that very few creators ever grasp. Money sitting in a bank account loses its power. Money that's put back to work multiplies. And that's exactly how he scaled his operation. He went from a few friends filming in a small room to a full-scale media company with hundreds of employees, editors, camera operators, producers, and brand specialists, all working together to make every MrBeast video feel like a Super Bowl-level event. By 2020, MrBeast was no longer just a YouTuber. He had transformed his channel into a new kind of digital economy. Each upload wasn't just a piece of content, it was a self-sustaining business cycle. His audience provided the views. The views generated ad revenue. That revenue funded the next, even larger project. And that new project brought in an even bigger audience and more attention. The cycle just kept feeding itself, growing bigger and more powerful with every revolution. While other influencers were cashing out and buying Lamborghinis, he was doubling down. While others were promoting random products for a quick buck, he was busy building his own brands from the ground up. His videos evolved too. They stopped being just simple challenges or giveaways and became large-scale experiments in human behavior. He wasn't just giving away money anymore, he was studying how people react to life-changing generosity. He was testing the limits of human curiosity and exploring how deeply a good story could connect with people all over the world. The more he gave, the more he earned, not just in terms of money, but in trust, loyalty, and influence. And slowly, that trust was transforming into something even bigger. A global empire built entirely on the foundation of giving things away. But Jimmy's mind was already racing ahead, thinking about the next level. He had proven his reinvestment model could conquer YouTube. But what if that same principle could be applied to the real world? What if the same cycle that worked for videos could work for actual, physical businesses? That single thought would launch him into his next great era, one that would blur the lines forever between a YouTube creator and a billionaire entrepreneur. By 2020, Jimmy Donaldson had built a reputation that went far beyond YouTube. Millions of people weren't just watching his videos for entertainment. They were tuning in for inspiration. But he knew that the platform alone wasn't the final destination. The next big step was to create real-world impact, building a business that matched the digital attention he had so masterfully captured. And so, MrBeast Burger was born. It was a revolutionary virtual restaurant concept, operating entirely through delivery apps. There were no physical storefronts, no expensive ad campaigns, no flashy gimmicks. All it took was one simple announcement, and his audience responded instantly. Orders flooded in, causing delivery apps to crash in multiple cities. People weren't just buying burgers, they were becoming a part of the next chapter in the MrBeast story. Soon after, he launched Feastables, his own chocolate brand, which was designed to blend fun, ethical sourcing, and a unique experience. It wasn't just another candy bar on the shelf, it was a story, a mission. A portion of the proceeds went to Philanthropy. The marketing relied entirely on the trust he had built with his audience, and the product itself felt like a natural extension of his famous generosity. Every new business venture he launched followed the same core principle he had perfected on YouTube. Create immense value, give first, and let the people decide if they want to follow. There were no pushy ads or forced branding. Instead, it was all about participation, trust, and, of course, spectacle. By 2022, his empire had expanded far beyond clicks and views. It existed in kitchens, supermarkets, and in the hearts of millions of people all around the world. And yet, through it all, the core philosophy remained exactly the same. Give first and earn later. On the surface, it seems like a complete paradox. How could someone become a billionaire while giving away so much money, rarely selling anything directly, and keeping advertisements and sponsorships incredibly subtle? The secret lies in a complete reinvention of how monetization works. MrBeast didn't just make money. He built an entire ecosystem that masterfully converts attention into tangible wealth. Every single video was a calculated risk. The dollars he earned were immediately reinvested into producing the next, even bigger, more viral video. Each act of generosity, giving away a car, an island, or $1 million, amplified his reach, which in turn multiplied his revenue exponentially. He didn't have to sell products to strangers because he had already earned their loyalty. That deep-seated loyalty is what translated into massive sales the moment he launched MrBeast Burger or Feastables. His audience wasn't passive. They were active investors in his vision. Instead of relying on conventional marketing tactics, his real-world businesses were built on a pre-established foundation of trust. The moment he released Feastables chocolate, millions of people rushed to buy it, not because of some persuasive ad campaign, but simply because they believed in him and what he stood for. By understanding retention, engagement, and virality better than anyone else on the planet, he created videos that earned enormous ad revenue, sponsorships, and brand deals without ever feeling like he was selling anything. The audience genuinely wanted to watch, and the financial success naturally followed. Even the act of giving away money, products, or his time became both compelling content and a powerful trust-building tool. Each giveaway generated incredible stories that went viral, which then generated more revenue, more views, and more attention, fueling the entire cycle all over again. He simply didn't need traditional sales models. He had created his own self-sustaining attention economy, where kindness, spectacle, and raw human emotion became his most profitable system. The real magic behind MrBeast's empire isn't just a clever business strategy. It's a deep understanding of human psychology. We are all wired to respond to fairness, generosity, and authenticity. Jimmy Donaldson understood this instinctively from the very beginning. While other creators were busy trying to sell their audience with glossy ads and slick marketing, he was giving back with every single video. He tapped into our innate human desire to see good triumph over self-interest. Every challenge, every giveaway, and every incredible stunt was meticulously designed to trigger deep emotional engagement. There was the thrill of competition, the overwhelming relief of a reward, and the pure joy of witnessing unexpected kindness. But this was never manipulation. The generosity was real, and people could sense it. Authenticity is contagious, and it's the fuel that builds loyal communities that can never be bought with money. So, when he offered products like Feastables or organized massive charity drives, people responded in droves. They weren't being persuaded by a sales pitch. They were already emotionally invested in the narrative he had so carefully crafted over the years. His empire was never just about wealth or videos. It evolved into a psychological network, a web of trust, impact, and influence that money alone could never hope to replicate. Every act, every video, and every product reinforced the exact same cycle: create value, inspire belief, and amplify participation. His fans became his partners. His viewers became his collaborators. Every share, every comment, and every single view strengthened the entire system. And that is how a young man who started with just a camera and an idea transformed into a global figure whose empire exists not in storefronts or traditional sales figures, but in clicks' hearts and the powerful currency of human connection. Even as the empire expanded into businesses, Jimmy's obsession with perfection never wavered. What viewers saw on screen, the flawless timing, the emotional reveals, the jaw-dropping giveaways, was only the tip of an enormous iceberg. Behind the scenes, a machine of creativity, logistics, and precision hummed with relentless energy. Hundreds of employees moved like clockwork. Editors syncing cuts to music, producers coordinating hundreds of moving parts, safety specialists ensuring every stunt was risk-free. Every video was a miniature cinematic production, planned weeks in advance, with spreadsheets tracking costs, timelines, and audience retention metrics. What looked effortless on screen had been sculpted from hours of trial, error, and calculation. Even so, Jimmy insisted on staying in the trenches. He edited, brainstormed, and filmed alongside his team, never letting bureaucracy or hierarchy dilute the human touch that made the content authentic. It was this balance of precision and authenticity that turned each upload into a global event. Every new video became an experiment, not just in creativity, but in human psychology, economics, and attention. Yet, the cost of constant innovation was steep. The pressure to continually outdo himself weighed heavily. Every viral video raised the stakes. Fans expected bigger giveaways, more elaborate challenges, and ever more astonishing stunts. The cycle was exhilarating and exhausting. Jimmy and his team faced burnout, endless deadlines, and logistical nightmares. Mistakes were costly, both financially and emotionally. There were days when exhaustion threatened to stall creativity, nights when the weight of expectation was almost unbearable. But through it all, Jimmy pressed forward. His mantra was simple: momentum fuels innovation. Rest could wait. The audience, the mission, and the empire could not. Amid this whirlwind, he never lost sight of the philosophy that made him different. While most creators chased trends, ads, or short-term profit, Jimmy's empire relied on human connection. Giving was not a tactic. It was the foundation of his entire business model. Every donation, giveaway, and philanthropic effort doubled as both content and social currency. Fans didn't just watch videos, they invested emotionally, and that investment became the most powerful asset in his empire. He built a digital ecosystem where attention, trust, and participation created tangible results. Money wasn't the goal. It was a byproduct of generosity magnified by the world's largest attention economy. As the empire grew, so did its reach. Charitable initiatives, like Beast Philanthropy, turned views into life-changing impact. Food drives, housing projects, and disaster relief became part of the content cycle, seamlessly blending entertainment with real-world benefit. By giving first, he inspired others to give, creating ripples of generosity that extended far beyond the screen. The empire wasn't just a business, it was a movement, proof that success could be measured in impact rather than just profit. And yet, Jimmy's story isn't just about success. It's about the burden of greatness. Fame comes with scrutiny, and every decision is amplified by millions of eyes. Every video must surpass the last. Every act of generosity carries expectation. Behind the cameras, he faced the same fears, doubts, and pressures as anyone else, amplified by scale. Sleep became secondary. Mistakes became public lessons. And yet, in that pressure, creativity thrived. The empire required not only vision, but courage, endurance, and relentless curiosity. Jimmy transformed these challenges into fuel. The more impossible a task seemed, the more ambitious the idea became. Each challenge, each giveaway, each production was a negotiation between human limits and imagination. The genius of MrBeast lies in turning limitations into opportunity. Where others see constraints, budget, logistics, or audience expectations, he sees leverage. Where others see exhaustion, he sees momentum. Where others see risk, he sees impact amplified by strategy and trust. Every decision, every act, every dollar given away was part of a larger ecosystem, a self-sustaining cycle of attention, trust, and human connection. It is this ecosystem that allowed him to build a $1 billion empire without selling anything in the traditional sense. Not products, not ego, not illusions. And now, as the empire spans digital platforms, real-world businesses, and global philanthropy, the story of MrBeast becomes a blueprint for the future. He showed that wealth is not just accumulated. It can be engineered through empathy, strategy, and relentless reinvestment. Influence is not just claimed. It can be earned through authenticity and consistency. Success is not just a product of effort. It can emerge from humanity magnified by vision. He turned attention into an asset, generosity into a strategy, and trust into currency. He proved that it is possible to scale kindness into something monumental, something the world has never seen before. The lessons are clear. Give first, reinvest wisely, embrace innovation, and never underestimate the power of human connection. And in that space between spectacle and sincerity, Jimmy Donaldson, MrBeast, continues to push boundaries, creating not just content, but a living, breathing empire of generosity, trust, and human possibility. Every view, every smile, every act of giving fuels the next idea. And the empire grows, not because of selling, but because people believe in the story, the mission, and the man behind the camera. Jimmy Donaldson, MrBeast, continues to redefine generosity, creativity, and the power of human connection. If you've enjoyed this story and want to see more incredible journeys like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and turn on the notifications. Share your thoughts in the comments. Which part of MrBeast's journey inspired you the most?